sentences with "at this age."
At this age, yeah.
Because at this age you care less, or at this age you recognize more, or at this age you've observed a lot, and it has, allowed you to see what you're seeing in life, and that people probably aren't judging you as much as you thought they were the whole time anyway.
Right.
And you always looked better than you thought you looked, and yeah.
Well, and if you think about it, like every time you're thinking, oh my gosh, well, I wore this outfit here, I can't wear that again because so-and-so might see me or whatever. And it's like, I don't remember what they wore. Why do you think they're going to remember what? And everybody is so worried about their own selves. And good day, everyone. No matter what time of day that you're listening to us, we'd like to welcome you to The Beautiful Chaos. I'm Tammy Ramsey.
And I'm Stacy Miller.
And our first episode is going to be about empowerment and strength. And it's called I Am Woman. But first, we're going to give you a brief little intro on why we think we're qualified.
Or not so qualified.
Which is probably more accurate. So, do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
So, I am 45 years old. I have 2 marriages, so 1 divorce, and then I'm married now. And 2 kids, they're 23 and 21. So, I've raised kids. I've been a single mom. I also started college when I was 34, graduated from ISU at 40 with a degree in political science. So, between parenting, education, and life experience, that's what I feel like I'm bringing to the table. None of this is doctor-approved advice. This is just life advice from life experience. So that's what I feel like I'm bringing to the table.
And I feel like I'm bringing to the table my life experience as well. I've been married 3 times. 3rd time's the charm. The second one was a very abusive husband, so I have dealt with that kind of sadness and things that I've had to overcome in my life. Mm-hmm. I've also been a single parent. Our family, we have a his, hers, and an ours, and so that's pretty fun. I'm a city girl that married a farmer, so that's like this big, huge learning thing. And I have been a health coach for 8 years, and we worked on healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances. And I am self-educated. I don't have a college degree like she does, but I am self-educated in the fact that I have taken a lot of courses in nutrition, psychology, and so forth, but I hold no degrees. I certainly am not a doctor. So yeah, if you think that what we say sounds good to you, then right on. But if you're feeling like you're in a deep, dark place and need help, then reach out to a real doctor that can help you. We're just here to, I guess our whole deal is that we feel like we've successfully guided ourselves through our life experiences.
Right.
And so we just want to share some insight with you. And I think it's also great that we just know that we're all in this together.
Right.
And that there's a lot of similarities in all ages and all types of people. So,
and we'll get into it more a little bit later, but another thing about us is that we do put ourselves out there a lot. We force life experiences on ourselves by being involved in our community and being involved with our families and doing event planning and things like that. And so I just feel like through a lot of those, there's been a lot of growth with each other, as well as just learning and observing from other people in different high stress situations or high activity situations. And so this is just our way of bringing our own life experience to you and hopefully spreading a little bit of knowledge along the way.
Right on. See? Isn't she great? So we're going to get into our first episode, which is called I Am Woman. And I think that in my younger years, when I would go through times in my life where I maybe wasn't making the best decisions or just had that I don't know, we cycle as women.
Mm-hmm.
And some women cycle every 30 days. And that's in an emotional kind of time. And some people like me, I can cycle in a day a couple of times.
Right. Or a season.
Or a season. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that through all things, we all need a fight song or a theme song,
Agreed.
something that makes you feel empowered.
Right. Yes.
So my fight song is Helen Reddy's I Am Woman. And I think that it opens with like, I am woman, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore. Because that's the other thing. We all as women should be supportive of one another.
Absolutely.
Encourage one another to be our best selves at all times, right?
Lift each other up, fix each other's crowns, all those types of things.
Yes, lovely. And so I think that whenever we are down and we don't have a friend that we can reach out to, because this one works a lot and she works crazy hours, so so I will play this song for myself and remind myself that I am strong.
Yep.
And I will not be denied. If I have to, I can do anything. And I love your choice of song because even though it's a different tempo, mine's really upbeat, fast, and like,
Right.
And hers is very slow and very loving, and it has multiple meanings.
Right.
But tell me first talk about your song. Sure. And what is your favorite verses that really drives it in for you?
So if you know one thing about me, you know that I'm a fan of Bette Midler. Always have been, always will be. That's the one thing about me that'll never change. So there's a lot of songs in her catalog that have meant a lot to me, but one of them that has stood out the most is The Rose. And a lot of people think it's a really sad song, and a lot of people play it at funerals, but the part that stands out for me, and I'll just read the lyrics for you, is the center of the song, which is the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance, the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance, and the one who won't be taking, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. And when I was 19, I was definitely in my Bette Midler era, and I listened to that song a lot, and it felt like the words I needed to hear to give me the strength to make big changes in my life. Because if you don't take chances, or you don't give and you only take, or you're just not putting yourself out there, then you're really not choosing to live your life. And I was given an opportunity at that time to move across the country, start a new job, kind of just throw myself into adulthood. And one day driving around listening to that song, that felt like that was the catalyst that put me on that path. And then from then on, every time I needed the strength to say it's okay to live 3,000 miles away from home, and it's okay to, every day at that point was taking a chance on my life because everything was new and everything was different and everything was foreign to me. So that song kept me taking the chance to just continue to live my life every day or to experience the entire East Coast. I was traveling at 19, like no 19-year-old should be traveling alone in a vehicle. But I wanted to see everything and I wanted to take everything in because I feel like with those words, I was empowered to believe that I needed to continue to take risks in my life in order to live.
Right. And I think, and that's the same thing with my song too, is that like when you're talking about the dream, say that line again, the dream that's worth...
The dream afraid of waking.
Afraid of waking. So I think that sometimes we're so afraid that we can have a big dream, and if we feel like we're going to fail at it, then we don't do it.
Right.
Instead of, what's that saying that's like, we shouldn't look at only our successes.
Right.
Because there are no failures.
Right, you learn from all of your failures.
You learn from all your failures.
Right.
I mean, it takes everybody multiple times of failing, if you want to use that word, and or practicing to be successful and to achieve your dreams. But you definitely have to have the dreams and believe in yourself enough to do like you did and to overcome your fears of I'm a single person and I'm going out and traveling and seeing all these things, and maybe it's not the safest thing, but you did it.
Well, I think it's really important mentioning making mistakes and learning from mistakes because, it's easy at our ages to look back and say, we've learned so much, and we could easily give somebody advice and tell them how to live their life and what mistakes that we made that maybe you shouldn't make, but really life is about making mistakes.
Right.
And so you can heed as much advice from as many well-educated or not so well-educated or every spectrum of people, but in the end you will make mistakes, and you will have to continue to take risk after risk and chance after chance in your life in order to build those mistakes up, to have that foundation of knowledge of how to proceed in your life and how to take those life lessons and move on into something greater in your life.
Right. That's like part of the song that I like, and is that it's wisdom born of pain. So we become wise through our trials. We learn through the lowest times in our lives. If you're ever questioning yourself and going, why is God doing this to me? It's not God doing it to you. It's God working within you to give you an opportunity to grow,
right,
and to become the person that you're meant to be, because we're all a work in progress,
right.
So let's jump back to things that empower us, because I think that in this day and age there's just a lot of, I'm just gonna scroll Facebook and I'm just gonna watch videos, and I really fear for our youth, because they watch the shorts a lot. A lot of my grandkids watch the shorts, and I'm like, oh man, your brain's just going to be used to having 20-30 seconds. And
right. We lose our attention span.
Exactly. And I think that people are so not in touch with themselves that they don't even understand what empowerment is. So do you have an example of something you've done? Well, you just did. You gave a great example of what empowerment is.
Yeah.
And I guess I would like to say I have multiple moments of feeling empowered, but I think that some of the biggest things are giving birth and not having an epidural. Like, to me, that was empowering. I got up from that birth and felt like I could run 3 miles and felt like $1 million.
Yeah.
I think anytime I've set my mind to do something, like writing a play, and I write a play and we do a play, we've done plays together very successfully, and we put on this play, and it's great, and it sells out, and it's fabulous. That's empowering to me. Like, wow, I had this dream, I had this vision, and
it was crazy.
But
in the end, it worked.
It did. It happened. We made it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw Music in the Park out there, because most people that know us know that we put on a great live event in the summer times. We've been doing it for 11 years on Thursday nights. We have concerts, live concerts, food vendors, craft vendors, all the things. But that was a crazy thing too. Hey, let's just, what if we do this concert in the park? And we started off, and it was very small, and now we've grown to 500-600 people, and we've grown into doing a Christmas festival now. We do 4th of July. It's really grown. But I think that that's what empowerment looks like. It's that feeling when you do something. Heck, it could be making your bed in the morning, like Dr. Jordan Peterson says. I love him. But he says, if you just get up, if you have nothing else on your plate to do, or maybe you don't want to do anything else, make your bed. If you make your bed, you feel like, oh, I've accomplished something.
Right.
And I think that's the empowerment of it, is that I feel empowered because I was able to do whatever it is I didn't think I could do.
Well, and just to go back to your comment on like instant gratification that we have today, it's easy to get distracted, like you said, for long periods of time with scrolling TikTok, have that instant gratification. But in contrast to that, I had heard a quote once that was, to take the chance no matter what, because the time will pass anyway.
Yeah.
And that was the quote that got me going to college, because I thought at that time, I was 34, how many times had I let 4 years pass and 4 years pass and 4 years pass, where somewhere in that 4 years could I have earned a degree. And that took me a little longer than 4 years. That whole single mom bit was a challenge. But I also, the time did pass anyway. Was I extremely busy and extremely unavailable? I didn't hardly go on social media during that time. I couldn't tell you if I was watching a show on TV or spending any time doing almost any fun thing for the 6 years that I was in school, unless I was on summer break. And the time passed anyway, and I walked away with a degree. And now I look at that often and I go, okay, well, now it's been 5 years since I've been out of school. That time passed. Did I accomplish something with that time? Or what's the next 5 years look like? Am I going to let that time pass? And so it's amazing what you can do with the 2 or 3 or 4 hours that you can watch TV or scroll TikTok in a night, because in that same amount of time that it would take me to watch a couple of shows and maybe scroll on social media, I could read a book, write a paper, take a quiz, study for the next exam, and put that forth to the next goal, and eventually led to a degree. So remember that your time passes no matter what. It's what you do with that time that really matters.
Right. And when you get older, you don't remember episodes of anything you've watched most of the time until you're halfway through them. And then you're like, oh, I do remember seeing that.
I did see this. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, so that's a weigh-in of importance. All these things that you're distracting yourself with is kind of taking you away from becoming the person that you could be, that you should be, that God's waiting for you to be.
Right.
And I will throw God out there 100%. I know
absolutely.
You believe too. Like everything that we have is from Him, from His gifts to us and our blessings. So let's talk about. So this would go along with comparing ourselves, like on social media. I want to talk about that and kind of what you just said about, what's my next 5 years look like, and what accomplishments have I achieved? And I think that we have to be very careful about, we need to set goals, but we need to definitely make sure that we're not comparing ourselves. Like, I'm not going to compare myself to Stacy because she has gone the college way. I supported that 100%. Yeah, I think I had to drag you away to do some fun things. But,
you did, which is good.
Yeah, but I just am at that age. I'm 59 and going to be 60 in November, and I just have no desire to spend money to go back to college other than these little bit of courses that I'm doing. But I don't want to compare myself. I'm not going to compare myself and say that I'm any less in any way than you are. What I'm going to compare myself with is, am I better than I was yesterday? Did I achieve more than I did yesterday? Like you were saying, I'm going to look back in these 5 years and look back at the next 5 years and see what you've done. And I love that you brought up, all the things that we could be doing in the time that you're watching a show that you'll forget all about and is really of no importance.
Right.
But if you look back on the Mayans or the cliff dwellers, they don't have TV, they didn't have iPads, they didn't have anything to entertain them, and they built cities. Like, that's all they did was build cities and feed themselves. And it just makes me think what more we can do as long as we believe we can do it. Right. And we have the vision to do it. And you can't have the vision to do something if you're constantly distracting yourself with other things.
Yeah, you can't compare yourself to people on the internet. You can't compare yourself to people you see on television. For me, getting a degree really meant something to me personally. We can get into that in a different episode or a different time. Right. But I've never looked at somebody with a college degree as being better than somebody else. I've never looked at myself as being better than somebody else for having one. But we also have to remember that what is portrayed on social media, what people display for other people, is a small fraction of who they really are. Like I said, that was important to me. That was my goal. I had to do it for myself. It didn't have anything to do with anybody else. But we also have to remember that when we're looking at people and they're showing their very best self, their very best vacation, or, everything but their struggles on the internet, that doesn't show a true picture of who they are. We can look at my shiny, fancy degree, but it doesn't show you the nights that I was crying in my room by myself, locking my kids out, trying to get homework done because I couldn't be disrupted, or trying to submit my very best work at 11:59 because it was due at midnight and I probably procrastinated till the last second. But it also doesn't show the times that I felt like I could raise my hand in class and have the nerve to ask really wild questions and not worry about what everybody in the room thought of me when I'm asking the question. So it was a lot of stepping out of my comfort zone, but there was a lot of really, really hard times. And again, you pulled me out of those a few times because you would see how run down I was and say, all right, we're going to the rodeo this weekend, figure it out. But it was great because then I set a new goal for myself, because I do have a tendency of procrastination, that when I knew that whether I liked it or not, she was dragging me to the rodeo that weekend, then I had to get my homework done by XYZ date and time so that I could be dragged to the rodeo. And honestly, that date was a shift in my life and changed a catalyst for me as well. We could talk about that another time.
We'll talk about that another episode. See, I'm gonna cry. Well, and I want to talk about, go one more step into the comparison thing, because I love that you brought up social media.
Yeah.
But it's also like on everyday stuff. Like I remember being in church, and I used to think that Robin was like her kids. She had like 5 kids, and she sat in like the second or third row, and I'm in the back row with just 2 kids. And I'm like losing my mind because they won't sit still, and they're doing all these crazy things. And I feel like I'm this just big disruption. Right. And every time I look up at Robin and her kids, everyone's quiet and they're all still. And I remember going up to her after church and going, oh my gosh, I just need to know what you're doing, because...
What's your secret?
Yeah, what's your secret? And she's like, what are you talking about? It's sheer chaos. You must have just been looking up at the right time that things were going right, because, I'm sitting there. So she felt the same way I did. Right. But I assumed, because of the few moments that I glanced up and saw her, which is kind of like social media. The few glimpses you see of somebody, you think their life is perfect, and guaranteed it's not. Nobody has a perfect life. I'm a very happy person. You're a very happy person. Like, we have great lives, but I've cried a lot. I've been through depression, like, been through all these things. Absolutely. So, so don't compare yourself is definitely been something that I have really worked on, and never, I don't care about what people think. Like, we're doing this podcast. You can talk about the roles that you might see or whatever. You can pick me apart. I don't care. Because I think that at 59 anyways, I feel like I love myself no matter what. And
I think at this age you start a lot of sentences with "at this age."
At this age,
Because at this age you care less, or at this age you recognize more, or at this age you've observed a lot that has, allowed you to see what you're seeing in life, and that people probably aren't judging you as much as you thought they were the whole time anyway.
Right.
And you always looked better than you thought you looked, and
Well, and if you think about it, like every time you're thinking, oh my gosh, well, I wore this outfit here, I can't wear that again because so-and-so might see me or whatever. And it's like, I don't remember what they wore. Why do you think they're going to remember what? And everybody is so worried about them, their own selves and their own little shortcomings.
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
Or insecurities. It would be insecurities.
Sure.
So same thing. So just, know that we're all in the same boat. So, so moving on, because I didn't even time us. I'm not sure. We didn't time us. We only want to do 30 minutes.
I think we're 20.
I think, okay. So, we already talked about, one of the lyrics in this Helen Reddy song, I Am Woman, is, I am wise, but it's wisdom born of pain. We've kind of already talked about that. We talked about, and nothing worthwhile comes easy. You had to work your butt off. Yeah. I've had to work my butt off to achieve the things that I've achieved. Right. And so I have the attention span of a gnat. So for me to...
Yes, she does.
For me to write a play, and now it's been... I'm working on a 3rd play right now. Mm-hmm. But for me to focus for that long, or to focus on these podcasts, is also, it takes a lot of my energy just to focus. So, just for any of you gnats with ADD out there, or, squirrel.
Always.
Again, we all have dark moments. We all have things that we've suffered through our life. My husband is very, very wise. Sometimes it's annoying, but... I love that he says no child comes through childhood unscathed.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
We all have things. We each have childhood issues that we could, that's a whole nother episode, maybe 2 for that one. Anyway, so let's move on. Let's see. We talked about, actually, we might have covered everything.
What empowerment feels like. A lot of it.
Mm-hmm. So I loved this. What empowerment feels like, it feels like you're superhuman. It feels like I can't believe I did that. Oh, rafting. We're in a raft down the Whitewater Rapids. We make it through the Whitewater Rapids, and I'm feeling like, yes, I am a woman.
Yeah.
And then it starts to hail, and we have like James's tent at that time. There's another little girl in there. We're covering them up. And it's hailing, and we're just sitting there for a minute, and my husband says, hey, let's head for that tree over there. And the guide goes, well, that tree's going to cover one person. And my husband said, exactly, me. And anyway, that's the funny. But the serious part was that, I don't know, I got fired up. And the guide's like, so we can sit here and get pelted. And I mean, it was pelting us. Or we could paddle our tushes off and make it to the other side because we're only like a half a mile away from where we get to take out of the water.
Right.
And I'm like, let's go! I was the first one to be like, let's go. And then everybody's like fired up, and we're paddling, and we're going against this hail. And it is just, I mean, I had red marks on me when I got done, but I was so exhilarated. Yeah. The adrenaline was pumping, and I got done with that and felt like I could climb any mountaintop and do whatever I wanted to in the world.
Right.
So that's what empowerment feels like.
Right.
So,
well, and I think that, you know, I Am Woman is the title of this episode.
Yes.
And so I think it's great that we're talking about women empowerment and how we empower ourselves through challenges, through, you know, the things that life throws at us, and taking risks and continue to take risks every day. But I think it would be wrong of us if we didn't also say that it's important to rely on other people. Like you said, your husband is very wise. My husband is very wise. What I love about him is that he sees things from a different perspective than I see things. And so sometimes, luckily, he's a great listener because I like to talk. That's why we're on here. And so I can vent to him about stuff, and he can see things in a completely different way than I had seen them, and help me see something differently and know maybe a different way to approach something. So as important as it is to, I think, take from this episode that women can be very empowered, and any individual, we all should feel empowered. We all should take risks. We all should look at what are we going to do with our next day, our next hour, our next minute, also our next 5 years. But don't be afraid to pull somebody in on that goal and have somebody support you.
Right.
Or, you know, just know when it's okay to ask for help. I mean, as a single mom, one of the things that I felt very empowered about was if I needed furniture moved, it was getting moved. It didn't matter how it was happening. I mean, her and I have done this to rearrange this room. It doesn't matter how it's happening. It can happen an inch at a time. It can happen, you know, I've used skateboards and rugs and random things to move furniture. But then here I am the other day, and I just go to try and do one simple chore, and I throw my back out. So it's, you know your limits and know your boundaries, and know that it's okay to be empowered and take your risks and take your chances, but it's also okay that we reach out for help, and that we rely on our team, and we rely on the people that we have in our life to keep pulling us up and keep pulling them up with us to the next challenge and the next goal.
Right. I love that, because I feel like that a lot of people just think, and it's men and women. And I want to say really quick, this episode was not really geared to just be all for women, because I think it's just the statement of strength and the empowerment. And,
right.
And
we just
like
have a woman's perspective.
We have a woman's perspective, right? But I think that men, yes, can learn from all of this as well. But now I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. That's how we're going to start ending podcasts. So what you wanted to talk about was how dreams and goals are really important, and that's going to segue us.
Yes. Yeah. So our, and not only just dreaming something. You it's great to dream.
Right. But hold on. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance.
Yes.
To my phone. Yeah.
Yes. So if you have the dream, but then you have this, so you can say positive, negative voice. Mm-hmm. You can go back to old time cartoons where it's the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other.
Yep.
Yin and yang, whatever you want to think about. But there's two things going on in your mind.
Always.
The one is going, I have this dream.
Right.
And the other voice goes, yeah, but.
Right.
And I think that it's very important to awaken that dream by ignoring the but.
Yeah. Yeah. Set goals to your dreams. You always have to, if you dream a dream, it's just a dream without goals. And so set goals to your dream, and then take those chances to go to those goals. But we won't talk too much on that because that's actually going to be our next episode.
That's going to be episode number 2. And if you have trouble dreaming, then we will also kind of touch on that in our next episode as well, because I just went through that, like totally lost the ability to kind of dream. So it's a thing.
It's called exhaustion.
It is called exhaustion. But thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Wherever you are seeing us, save us, like us.
Share it with somebody if you think that they're going to like listening to us ramble.
Yes.
Or if you got something good out of it.
There is some rambling. You could even email us possibly and find out.
Sure.
Ask us questions. We'll create something.
We'll put a link at the bottom of this.
There you go, where you can ask questions or talk about episodes that you might want to see. We have about 20, 21 or 22 so far. So, a lot of good stuff. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again. Or for you to hear us again. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay empowered.